The NBA trade deadline passed at 3 Eastern today, and as notable as some of the deals were, the big news was the one that was not. Giannis Antetokounmpo is still with the Bucks, despite the team receiving aggressive offers and the 9-time All-Star being willing to move on. For more, we welcome in Shams Charania and Kendrick Perkins to talk about this. Shams, you've been on Giannis watch since this summer, but now he's still a Buck. What does the future look like for him?
Christine, loads of uncertainty for Giannis and the Bucks moving forward. The Bucks did listen. They engaged with teams on aggressive offers for Giannis at this NBA trade deadline. But that was really triggered because Giannis himself had communicated and made clear to high-level Bucks officials that he believed that it was time for both sides to part ways. So this came to a head right before the deadline, but the Bucks simply felt like they were not ready to move on with the deal. And talks never progressed to the point where they felt they were close on a deal. The Bucks told one team that they believed that they needed to be blown away by an offer to move Giannis. They told another team that they needed at least 5 to 6 first-round picks to move on a deal. So teams involved in this believe and get the sense that the Bucks truly feel that taking this into the summer, they can put together a roster able to contend for a championship around Giannis and get him back on board with the mission at hand in Milwaukee. And if he is on the roster and it's October 1, he is eligible for a 4-year, $275 million extension.
All right, let's bring in the guy. Like, the body language on K. Perk says a heck of a lot. So, K. Perk, all right, I'm glad you're joining us here in this conversation. So the saga's not done with Giannis. At least it is right now with the deadline, but with the summer there, and Shams talking about it, where would you like to see Giannis land finally?
Well, he's not going to be in the Bucks uniform, especially if they're talking about trying to build a championship roster around him, because what all-star caliber player or all-NBA player or young star that's right there that's relevant that's trying to go to Milwaukee? Nobody. But look, Giannis is going to have many of options, as we can see. But I believe that Giannis wants to be in New York. And I believe that he kind of somewhat got in his feelings because New York wasn't aggressive and wasn't ready to make a move right now. And this is the reason why I feel like New York won at this trade deadline. For the simple fact that they could go out, because I believe they have the most complete roster, and go out and try to compete, possibly get to the promised land, win a championship. And if they don't, then they could make a move and go get Giannis because he wants to be in the Big Apple anyway.
Okay, so you're saying that you want Giannis in New York as well?
Look, I don't care where he go. I want to see Giannis on the contender, and it's not going to be in Milwaukee. All I'm saying is that, damn it, he wanted to go to New York in August. He asked them to move him, as Shams just reported. He went to him, and they started taking calls, and what happened was when the phone rung, it wasn't New York on the other side being aggressive right now.
All right, so he's still a Buck, as we know. John Morant is on in Los Angeles.
Either at the deadline or in the offseason. So we're going to be talking about this for a while. We have Shams Charania with us. We have Big Perk here for reaction. But first, Shams, set the table for us. Why didn't the Bucks take an offer for Giannis?
So, Hannah, the only reason the Bucks even listened and engaged with teams is because my understanding is Giannis Antetokounmpo had communicated with Bucks officials for months now that he believed the time has come for both sides to part ways. So the Bucks listened, they engaged, they received some aggressive offers overall, and that's why this all came to a head at the deadline. But they never progressed to even being close on a trade. I'm told they told one franchise that they need to be blown away to trade Giannis. They told another team they need 5 or more first-round picks. So teams that were involved here came away believing that the Bucks honestly believe internally that they can potentially build another championship contender around Giannis in the offseason, that they can get him to get back on board with winning again in Milwaukee. And listen, the second half of the season, we'll see how much turbulence there might be with the Bucks. But from the second half of the season to the offseason, October 1, if Giannis is still on the roster, still not traded, he will be extension eligible, 4 years, $275 million. Wow.
And the Bucks are delusional. The Bucks are delusional because it's not an all-star, all-NBA player, superstar player that's going to be available, that's relevant, that's going to want to come to Milwaukee. And so I think this just happens. They didn't find a trade right now, but they're going to find a trade, and Giannis, I believe, will get traded in the offseason, just for the simple fact that they're in rebuild mode. they're also going to ask Giannis Antetokounmpo to sit out the remaining of the season so that they could tank. So it just don't add up to me when they're talking about long term and they feel like they could build a championship around Giannis. No, I just think Giannis wasn't loud enough this time, and the place that he wanted to be wasn't loud enough for us what they wanted to do at this particular moment, and I believe that's the New York Knicks.
Yeah, that was the operative word, this time, Perk. You nailed it. So having said all that, trade deadline's come and gone. Who were your biggest winners and biggest losers?
The team that won it the most is the New York Knicks. And look, they made a small popular move by getting Jose, but the simple fact that Giannis didn't get traded and the Knicks now they didn't have to make a pitch and didn't have to break up their roster, because I believe they have the deepest roster in the Eastern Conference. And they check all the boxes to get to the NBA Finals. If they fall short, guess what? They still got those same pieces to try to go get Giannis this offseason. The biggest loser in my opinion, is the Memphis Grizzlies. I know they got back a lot for Jaren Jackson Jr. I'm very high on their young core that they do have, but they were trying to move away from Ja Morant, and they wasn't successful. And they tried to take less. They was trying hard as hell to get rid of him. And now all of a sudden, you got to finish the season. You got to go back to him if he does come back this season off of injury and try to persuade him to go in and play. Like, that's just bad energy that you don't want in the locker room.
Yeah, he's only played 20 games this season, has 2 more years left on his contract. We'll see what the market is for him.
Hey, Hannah, good seeing you, too.
Yeah, yes.
Matt can't say the same for you. I said, Hannah, great seeing you. Matt can't say the same for you.
Seeing you guys as well. Perk, looking good.
Dub Nation, let me ask you something right now. What if I told you the Golden State Warriors were this close, I'm talking inches away, from completely reshaping the NBA again? What if I told you the front office had already lined it up, had already mapped it out, had already pushed their chips to the middle of the table for Giannis Antetokounmpo, and the only thing that stopped it was Milwaukee refusing to blink? Because that's where we are. The trade deadline passed. Giannis is still a Buck, but don't get it twisted. This was not some fake social media rumor. This wasn't fan fiction. The Warriors were in the race, a real race, a serious race. And when reports started circulating that Milwaukee was listening, that Giannis was open to a change, that ownership was evaluating aggressive offers, Golden State was not sitting back quietly. They were ready. And that alone tells you everything about where this franchise stands. Let's slow this down for a second. The Warriors are not rebuilding. They are not tanking. They are not playing the let's see what happens next year game. As long as Steph Curry is wearing that jersey, this organization believes the championship window is not closed. Maybe it's tighter, maybe it's harder, but it's not closed. And when a 2-time MVP like Giannis becomes even remotely available, you don't hesitate. You explore it, you calculate it, you prepare for it. Now think about the fit. Steph Curry, the greatest shooter in basketball history. Giannis Antetokounmpo, the most dominant downhill force in the league. One bends defenses out to 35 feet. The other collapses the paint like a wrecking ball. You want to talk about impossible coverages? How do you guard that? If you trap Steph, Giannis is running 4-on-3 into the lane. If you build a wall for Giannis, Steph is relocating to the wing. If you switch, you're dead. If you hedge, you're late. There is no clean answer. And that's why the league was watching. Because if that deal happens, the balance of power shifts overnight. The West changes. The championship odds change. Every contender has to adjust. But here's the part that matters most for Dub Nation. The Warriors didn't panic. Reports made it clear Milwaukee wanted to be blown away. 5 to 6 first-round picks, young assets, controllable contracts, a package that resets their franchise. That's the price when you're talking about a generational player in his prime. Golden State was pick-heavy in its discussions. That tells you something. They were willing to sacrifice future flexibility. They were willing to mortgage draft capital. But there is a line, and this front office has walked this tightrope before. Remember when they went all in for Kevin Durant? That move required courage. It required risk. It required conviction. But it also required perfect timing. This situation, it wasn't quite there yet. Because here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Trading for Giannis isn't just about talent, it's about timeline, it's about control, it's about what he wants long term. He becomes extension eligible, he has leverage. If you empty the vault for him, you better know he's committed beyond the honeymoon phase. Golden State wasn't just trying to win a headline, they were trying to win sustainably. And that's where things get interesting. Some people say the Warriors' championship window is over, that the dynasty had its run, that it's time to accept reality. But if that were true, why would they even be in these talks? You don't chase Giannis if you think you're done. You chase Giannis if you believe you're one move away from another banner. That's not desperation, that's ambition. And let's address something else. There was noise around Draymond Green being potentially included in a blockbuster scenario. You can't land a superstar without giving up value. That's reality. But even there, the Warriors weren't reckless. They understand what Draymond means to this system. They understand the Steph-Draymond synergy is not easily replicated. So every decision had layers, basketball layers, chemistry layers, financial layers. Meanwhile, Milwaukee chose patience. They believe they can rebuild around Giannis. They believe the summer gives them more leverage. They believe they can convince him to stay with a retooled roster. Maybe they're right, but here's what we know. This isn't over. If Giannis is still uncertain, if the Bucks struggle again, if that extension doesn't get signed, the phone lines reopen. And when they do, Golden State will be there again. Because urgency is real in the Bay. Steph is still elite. He's not fading. He's not declining into irrelevance. He's still bending defenses like geometry doesn't apply to him. And the organization owes it to him and to the fan base to explore every path toward contention. The fact that they were willing to make a serious push tells you the front office understands the moment. This wasn't a fantasy, it was strategic evaluation. And here's the part that excites me most. Even without Giannis, the Warriors didn't stand still. They continue evaluating depth, versatility, two-way wings, rim protection. They know the league has evolved. They know the West is brutal. They know standing pat is not enough. But they also know you don't force a move that cripples you long term. That balance, that's championship DNA. So, Dub Nation, instead of being frustrated that the deal didn't happen, ask yourself this. Would you rather have a front office that swings blindly or one that calculates every inch before pulling the trigger? Because the scariest version of Golden State isn't the one that panics, it's the one that waits, prepares, and strikes at the right moment. Giannis staying in Milwaukee for now doesn't mean the dream is dead. It means the board resets. It means the summer becomes volatile. It means pressure builds in Wisconsin. And if that pressure cracks, the Bay will be ready. One thing is clear, the Warriors are not finished chasing greatness. They are not content with nostalgia. They are not comfortable fading quietly. They were ready to flip the league. And that tells me everything I need to know. Now I want to hear from you, Dub Nation. If the price was 5 first-round picks and key rotational pieces, would you have done it for Giannis? Or do you trust the current core to make one more run? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk about it. And if you're riding with Warriors Nation News for real analysis, real emotion, and no-nonsense takes, make sure you like, subscribe, and stay locked in. Because this story is not over.